Hey guys, welcome back to the Cosmic Panel, where today we're going to be discussing Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the new animated show from Disney. Before we get into that, Elias has a quick word.
Just real quick, I wanted to let you guys know that our next claim sale is on March 15th at 11 a.m. until we can't do it anymore. We are having a huge bronze collection for sale on Instagram. So follow us at The Cosmic Panel, and we would greatly appreciate it. We got lots of cool stuff, comics, collectibles, Pokemon cards, Legos, etc., etc. We got lots of cool stuff for everybody. So come on down. Let's get into the video.
So, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Is it woke? Very much so, motherfucker. Hudson Thames, voice actor. Motherfucker, how are you going to say this isn't woke when this is like the most diverse cast for a Spider-Man show I've seen yet? And I'm not saying we're not against woke. We love woke here. Any far-right grifters, fuck off.
I just hate that term. It's just so cringe.
Yeah, no, it really is. I absolutely hate it. Just say that you're racist. Like, just say that you don't like anyone other than white people.
Mm-hmm.
That's really the easiest way to say it. But yeah, no, I mean, I think the show is really well written. Let's start with the first episode. What did you think, Elias, of the... Actually, you know what? Let's start with the overall show. What did you think of the overall show as a whole?
A show as a whole, I was thoroughly impressed. I wasn't expecting this to be so solid, so well written. Amazing dialogue, amazing personality. Lots of cool aspects of this. I wasn't expecting such a strong Spider-Man animated show after we'd had Into the Spider-Verse and Spectacular Spider-Man as kind of the strongest standouts for me in Spider-Man media. I was really impressed by this, legitimately.
Yeah, I think in comparison to the previous two outings with animated shows, Spider-Man shows specifically, it's a lot better. I mean, the previous shows we had was Ultimate Spider-Man with Drake Bell, and then the one after that was this weird, just called Spider-Man show. I literally think it was just called Spider-Man, and
Yeah,
it was like with him at Horizon.
it was Kitty.
Yeah, it was. And then they also have the Spider-Gwen, Miles, and Peter show where they become dinosaurs, but we don't count
That's
that one.
Lucas's favorite show.
Yeah, I like to put it
Spidey
on
and his
passing.
amazing friends. Yeah,
That's what it's called. But yeah, no, I think overall, this is just such a better show. I do have my complaints. I do have some nitpicks, but I mean, for what we've been getting in recent years, this is such a leap that, like, honestly, I'm happy with this.
yeah, it was refreshing to have such a visual world. The animation wasn't stellar, but it was cool to see that they gave a shit about like the theme song, about having a different like splash page, if you will, every episode, stuff like that. That shows that they do care about, this character.
The theme song was gas. I'm not gonna lie. That entire intro is actually really cool. I will say I really like the art style for it. I think this is one of those shows where the art style really carries because the animation isn't hugely crazy. But yeah, no, I love how retro and classic it feels, and I also love the paneling. They do some really cool actual comic book base where they bring out the comic book borders and they like show like different characters doing different things. It's really fun. I really do enjoy that.
Yeah. So let's get into the first episode.
Yeah, so the first episode is Amazing Fantasy. It is featuring Peter. Peter's first day at Midtown High School. Doctor Strange appears looking very, very classic.
Peter's first day outside of Midtown High School.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he meets Nico. It's saves Harry Osborn, meets Lonnie, meets all these different characters. We kind of get a feel for it, and then he gets introduced to Norman Osborn at the end in the same intro that basically happened in Civil War, Captain America Civil War. Yeah, I think this was a strong setup. I think that sets up some stuff that really pays off later down the line. Of course, we're talking about the spider, but I do like the fact that Peter stands up for Nico way before he gets the powers. I like that the monster is scary, but like works within the art style. I'm interested to see if that's going to be like a thing where like that leads to Venom or something. But I really like the side characters. The side characters, especially Lonnie, to me are really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they had deferred from making this an MCU relevant show. So I was a little confused when Doctor Strange showed up and they were doing this different origin and all these characters like Nico and yada yada yada. But this, you know, just from off the bat, you can tell that without having that leash, they were able to have all these characters that we know and enjoy from the comics. But if you don't know the characters from the comics, you're not going to lose out on any story. It's all very natural and entry level, I would say. Like, this is great for like beginner Spidey fans to jump into this first episode.
Yeah, and I kind of like how they each kind of almost end like an issue of a comic. I really do enjoy that. But yeah, no, I think this is a great start, and I was surprised by Pearl, who I never heard of. I don't know if that was a character that you were familiar with at all or not.
The
I
name
never
sounded
heard of her.
familiar, but I couldn't tell you what issue she showed up in.
Yeah, like as far as I know, she is not a character in the comics. So I was kind of surprised. But Lonnie, of course, is who eventually becomes Tombstone. So I was really surprised by his inclusion.
Yeah, some of the naming like choices of characters were, what's the word? Just sort of like a little Easter egg for the fan without actually getting into the super, character related to that name. For example, that's not a good example because I just forgot his name, but the disgruntled professor at Oscorp who keeps giving all the interns a hard time. He's known as the Wizard in the comics by that same name. So they didn't
Oh,
go
I
that
didn't
way
even
with
realize
him.
that.
Yeah, he's a wizard, which is really cool. But they, went that way with Lonnie. I wasn't sure if they were going to because I was like, oh, he's just like, a high schooler, like, football. Like, he's going to be like the Flash Thompson character. He's like, the jock, whatever. But that was, yeah, surprising for them to go that direction. But I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, lots of cool, like, human characters in this that just have great, human stories.
Surprised no Flash. I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, they might introduce him next season. Um, we have confirmation, by the way, that Gwen is going to be in next season. So that's already a thing to look forward to. So they're going to be introducing more characters, which will be interesting. But anyway, second episode had Peter basically doing the Oscorp internship, meets Amadeus Cho, Jean, Asha, and all these different characters. We meet Connors, Dr. Connors, who is gender swapped and didn't really play that pivotal of a role, I was saying, for how important they are near the end, I would say. I was kind of surprised we didn't see more of them. I really thought we would get more time with like Peter and Connors like experimenting, and then we just didn't really get anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, in the background, like, okay, here it is. They made it. They made an engine. But I do like that they're fighting against Peter fights against Butane, who I'm pretty sure is an obscure Spider-Man villain, and Peter gets his identity revealed by Norman.
Yeah, one of my favorite things about this show is how, like, realistic the reveal of his identity is to some people. Like, yeah, it's Oscorp, like they're gonna have cameras everywhere. I mean, obviously, yes, we find out that Norman wanted to track him down and stuff, but I still think that it's kind of fun and believable the way that Peter kind of sloppily gets his identity revealed to who he gets revealed to. Because yeah, it's not an easy secret to keep, and it's much more difficult to keep that in the age of technology that this story takes place in.
Yeah, I will say I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself on this one. I really like the reveal for Nico. I thought that was really funny that like Harry accidentally reveals that. But yeah, no, that was well done. Anyway, getting back to it, episode 3, we have Peter and Norman basically getting dinner, and we get the whole like subplot with the gang with Big Donovan getting introduced, and Tombstone's or Lonnie's brother Andre being forced to leave the gang. Um, and then we had the whole high tech gloves and boots combo, who I don't really know them. I think it was Speed Demon. Was that
Yeah,
supposed to
it
be
was
Speed
supposed to be
Demon?
Speed Demon. Yeah,
Yeah, and I don't
we
know who
only
the
saw
other
that
one
in the
was.
credits. It just said it was like a nickname. It was credited as like first name Speed Demon, last name like that guy. And I don't think the woman was anybody I knew directly.
Apparently, it's the tarantula.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. I didn't know who they were either. So I
Forgot
was,
about the female tarantula. Dang,
yeah, I
she's
didn't know.
like second or third tarantula.
Really? Okay, that makes more sense. But I do find it interesting that Peter accepts Norman's offer, and then we get the whole like, okay, we see what Norman has to offer, and we see that so far Norman has good intentions, and he kind of lures us in also because we know that eventually he's going to turn to the dark side. But he seems like very genuine in the beginning, which is kind of nice.
I mean, it's interesting. If you're not a comic fan, I think you feel the imposing nature of Norman, but you don't necessarily think that he's a bad guy per se. You just think, oh, he's very, he emanates power because he's a very wealthy, important man in the city. He knows his relevance. But I don't think you quite think that he's evil unless you're a comic fan and you're sort of like suspicious of him all the time. So it towed that line well.
Yeah, no, it was definitely interesting. Next episode 4, we had the Avengers basically getting confirmed that there was the Sokovia Accords. Apparently, there was the whole fight in the airport just without Peter. It's weird how this is like almost MCU adjacent, but also not. Like it's strange. It gives people a very easy jumping on point in case they've only watched MCU films. I feel in comparison, because then they're like, okay, I know that, and then I know these characters, but they just have a different design. Okay, I understand, and it kind of gets them introduced to like classic design with like Strange having like the time manipulation, even though that's not a thing that he would normally have in the comics, or if he did, it wouldn't be from the eye. I also did like Charlie Cox voicing Daredevil, but we can get into that. Anyway, the talking about the original suit that the show introduces, I actually really like the pipes and like the gas and little like stuff to make the web shooters work. Like it's really funny.
Oh, yeah, that suit. Yeah, that's a fun suit. I guess we're not on the episode with the different
No,
suits yet.
this is the,
Okay.
that's why I was jumping
Yeah,
into
so
that.
so
But
that's the first suit. It makes sense. I guess it's more practical, whatever. Kind of like the background that the comics have of it being kind of wrestling inspired, his original suit, but this is sort of just, I guess, like a practical kind of take. But yeah, so that's fun. And
I
then
like
I
that it's a
was really
football
happy to
jersey.
see. Mhm. And I was really happy to see the Identity Crisis suits, at least 3 out of 4, adapted into the show just briefly. It was a fun way to integrate that. And again, more good Easter eggs for comic fans.
Yeah, no, it was really funny to see the Dusk suit.
It shows how, like, these didn't really work, like, or how these costumes wouldn't work and how these aliases would not work.
What was the only one that they missed out on? What was
They
it?
didn't do Ricochet.
Ricochet, that was it. I was
Yeah.
wondering about, because I knew that there was 4, and I was like, man, which is the one that I'm missing on?
But Prodigy is funny. Like, the cape doesn't work for his acrobatics. That was funny. And then Hornet, I mean, he doesn't know shit about flying.
Yeah, I don't know why Norman just thought to put him in that without any training. Like, also, like, man almost got beat the fuck up with his cape on the fence.
Yeah. And then I thought that was funny that Dusk just scared, like, the little girl and just scared people. Just an unnerving, like, costume, too imposing. So yeah, that was fun Easter eggs.
Yeah, no, it was quite funny.
But good montage, showing him trying to become himself and be true to himself.
Yeah, and then we had the whole Russian subplot where we get introduced to Otto, basically, which is really, really fun.
Well, he's the end of the episode, right?
Yes, he's the end of the episode
Yeah.
reveal, which is really cool, and I love his design.
But let's not forget a bunch more character cameos on the way. You have Rhino, you have Chameleon, you have Unicorn, and you have, I think, Roxanne, I think is her name. But, just natural ways to integrate these classic Spidey characters that we know. And, some obviously reinventions, gender swaps, differences in appearance, whatever, but just a very fun kind of way to integrate these characters that we know.
Just saying, if they were the same white dudes that they are in the comics, it would get really boring after a while, to be honest.
Once you're on the 10th or 11th piece of Spider Media.
Yeah, but I will say also that was a major thing that I loved in Spectacular, was not to compare it to another show, was when they seeded characters in previous episodes to build them out later. One of my favorite ongoing bits originally was that Sandman and Rhino were like 2-time goons, and for like the first like 10 episodes of the series, they're just goons that keep on getting stopped by Spider-Man at the wrong place at the wrong time. And eventually they're like, you know what? Fuck it. We need upgrades. And then they become Rhino and Sandman respectively. Like that to me is so much more interesting than just them becoming fully formed out of the gate.
Yeah, and jumping ahead again, I like how Chameleon gets more of a classic comic reveal at the end of the show after just seeing his human alias as a lowly criminal.
You didn't like the one from Craven where he like face changes and
Hey man,
everything?
it was comic accurate.
But anyway, yeah, no, it was really cool. And then episode 4 ends with Harry learning the identity, which I thought was interesting, but also made sense. Peter, I'm kind of surprised Peter didn't realize that, or spider sense or anything like that. But
Yeah, the spider sense was a little shoddy in this series. I don't know if it's because he was new to it or what, but stuff like the girders falling on Lonnie, and there were certain moments that shouldn't have caught him off guard.
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Or
the girder
even
should have never fallen. Like he should have known immediately.
yeah, or even like getting stabbed by Scorpion. I feel like he should have turned around, like turned his head or something. Like I feel like we got no
Oh my
reaction from
god,
him
you're
out of that.
right. Yeah, there's so much where like
But don't they show his spider sense in like the first couple episodes?
they do show, they literally show it in the theme intro.
Yeah,
So it's like a thing of
weird.
like, okay, that's weird. Okay. Yeah,
I
now that you
mean,
point that out, that is a major discrepancy that they.
yeah, it for plot reasons, I guess.
I mean, to be fair, Spider Sense has always been just a plot device more than
But
anything
it's funny
else.
that right there you're using it the opposite way as they usually would.
Yeah,
Like now it's not armor for him, it's the opposite. Like they're just not using it. So, but whatever. Um, yeah, so Harry becomes a more integral character in Spidey's story.
yeah. Episode 5, we get to see the breakout. We get to see more of Octavius. We get to see his little like assistant, who I think is also a reference. Everyone's a reference to someone, I guess. It's pretty wild.
Actually, this is one of the few characters I did not recognize. I'm not sure the origins of
I
him.
looked him up earlier. I know that he was a character because I specifically like I'm blanking on his name right now, but I do know he was a character. But yeah, no, I found it really interesting that we were getting Otto basically selling gear to villains for money just so he could fund his own research. Same fucking thing that happens in Spectacular. It's good. It's a good way to explain gear just being out there. I
I
really
was just
like that.
happy it wasn't Stark Tech.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I
I was
mean,
just like, thank God.
yeah,
Same concept, but I was just like, at least it's not fucking Stark Tech. I'm so sick of that being the explanation for everything.
yeah, no, 100%. But yeah, breakout. Basically, Peter saves Mikhail by literally fucking piccoloing the fucking. I don't know if you've ever seen classic Dragon Ball, but like literally that Piccolo jumps
Ages
and
ago.
literally does the same pose
Oh, really?
to
Okay.
protect Gohan. He just takes it full blast.
Sure.
I think it was almost a reference. It must have been a reference. It was, but it was so funny.
That was
Like
surprising.
arms outstretched and everything, just full on taking the beam. But yeah, I was surprised that Unicorn did that, and Unicorn gave them a fucking run for their money.
Yeah, and then like a human moment from Rhino too, which is really cool.
But yeah, no. Following that, we got introduced to Matt Gargan, who was really interesting, where he tries to kill Big Donovan. We get uh, Lonnie getting his moniker, and we get Nico and Harry meeting for the first time at the movies. A pretty good episode. It was pretty solid. I think it moved a lot of plot pieces further along, which they needed to.
Well, first of all, I forgot that Mac was like an Easter egg in the first Spidey movie.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. Or Homecoming. I was like, what the fuck is the name of it? Homecoming. I hate
Yeah,
that name.
because we couldn't name our films by a very clever name. We had to.
Home.
That's the theme.
Yeah, by the way, how much better is this than fucking Tom Holland Spider-Man's plot line right now? Like, Jesus Christ.
Oh my god! Don't even
Just
compare
one
the
season.
two.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, I forgot that Scorpion was an Easter egg at the end of that movie. So it was, that was kind of the look he was reminiscent of in the MCU.
Maybe he goes to jail in this timeline because he killed he killed Big Donovan. That's the reason why.
But yeah, the I couldn't really figure out how serious to take the whole gang subplot, just because until like the last couple episodes, they didn't even have like guns or weapons really. Like the fact that Mac pulled out a knife was like a because everyone was just fucking like brawling, and also the animation for the gang fights were just like the hand
Yeah,
to hand
they
fights
were
were
pretty.
very lackluster. So I was like, yeah. But yeah, it moved the plot along, and I was like, all right, just doing a little Scorpion Gang, like just a little reference. But then obviously Mac becomes a bigger threat later. But yeah, honestly, like Lonnie subplot, I think was my like favorite subplot just in general.
Easily. I
Yeah.
love I love the idea of him sacrificing his own future for his brother, and his brother not even being appreciative of that. Pretty wild. But I do love the fact that he he just finds more of a comfort in the gang. Surprisingly enough, it shows like how easily he can swallow you whole and just kind of take over your life. And yeah, no, it was overall just such a good subplot that like you wouldn't normally get in a Spider-Man show
Mm-hmm.
or just any like animated show, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Speaking about the guns though, because that is a very interesting point. That one episode cranked it from zero, like just punching and kicking, to like Peter getting stabbed through the
Well,
chest.
yeah, no, like
It leaped. It leaped so.
yeah,
I was like, oh my god, why is it so violent now?
I know. Yeah,
Like I
literally.
grimaced when Peter got stabbed in that episode. I was like, oh man, we're getting ahead of ourselves though.
I mean, it's all connected. Oh, I would have liked that was what I was gonna say. I would have liked a little more interaction with the little brother and Lonnie, because like the initial argument that they have just kind of ends really quickly, and Lonnie just kind of walks out pissed. I would have liked a little more interaction from the two of them, just because it was starting to get into the fact that it's very much not a black and white situation. His little brother was, kind of envious of his big brother being such a admired person at school, being this big athlete star, and he wanted to find a purpose for himself. So he kind of joined the gang and like was trying to make his own, lane. And he felt very insulted when Lonnie kind of took that option from him. They kind of say that he just became closer with the parents, which is nice, but I would have liked a little more interaction between Lonnie and his little brother just towards the end of the show.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the fact that we don't get the parents learning that he's in the gang is kind of like interesting, especially because it's like they show him fully committing to it. I would have liked to see the repercussions of that. But I guess Big Donovan just fucked off, huh? He
Well,
said, I'm out of here.
yeah. But no, it's a very like thorough arc, I would say, in general. Just like
Yeah.
Lonnie's like reluctance at first to join the gang, and then just how he changes his tune over time. I mean, I think part of it was also like he liked not having the expectations to like uphold at school and be this star student and athlete and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no. Anyway, episode 6, Duel with the Devil. We get Lonnie getting kicked out of the football team, which makes sense, furthers his plot. We got Peter meeting Daredevil, who is investigating into Norman. Daredevil is voiced by Charlie Cox, which I found really fun. I also really liked their fight. I thought it was really cool, and I loved how Daredevil looked. That was such a cool. I like that he's in the story and he's not a main character, and it feels like there's other cogs within New York City. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean it's very important in the Marvel universe, any Marvel media, and refreshing because you don't get this in the fucking MCU, but just anybody can show up at any time. Like New York is supposed to be this fucking hub for super activity. So yeah, very very cool inclusion. I didn't really fully get his look. I guess it was just supposed to be like low key or whatever. But other than that, I think the fight was awesome.
Yeah, and then we also have the whole thing of Harry revealing to Nico Peter's identity, which was fun.
Yeah, sorry, I just remembered also they never touched on this again, but isn't this the episode where Norman
Thunderbolt.
meets Ross? And
Yes,
yeah, so that was a really weird moment.
they do talk about it
He
though.
shows, well, I'm going to talk about this specific detail. He shows Ross that his asset is Spider-Man, but he uses one of his security guards as the secret identity for Spider-Man. And they never touch on that again. I'm forgetting his name. I think it might have been Jake Gallo actually. But anyway, the
Wait,
guard
Jake
that
Gallo?
I think it was
Because that's Punisher
Punisher
20.
2099. I'm pretty sure that's the name. Check me on
Also, I
that.
didn't I didn't even realize that they put a fake name on that. That's funny.
Yeah, so on the screen that he shows Ross, it's a picture of that security guard, and it says, I think it says Jay Gall, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I thought that was really weird. Like, Norman's trying to play the Sokovia Accords to his advantage, but also doesn't want to reveal Peter's identity. So it's just kind of another thing that, shows Norman's,
Gray area.
gray area, right? Like rocking back and forth thing. They never addressed that particular thing again. I thought that was just an interesting detail.
Also, can we talk about the fact that they gave him waves? So cool.
What do you mean gave him waves?
Well, I mean,
He's got waves.
well, yeah, he had waves.
What
He's
they did is they
waves.
gave him melanin.
You're right. You're right.
What they did is they gave Norman Osborn melanin.
Spider-Man, this Oz formula is gonna give me.
There goes Riverside. There goes the Riverside edit.
Oh man. I can't wait. I can't wait for the Oz formula to make him white, and then I'll explain why he still has cornrows even though he's now white.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because
you're thinking ahead. You're thinking ahead.
I'm jumping forward in time.
If by the Tombstone logic in this show, that's where it's going.
I mean, yeah, literally. That was interesting that they even hinted at that. I was kind of surprised. I thought they were going to completely ignore it.
Yeah, especially because nothing happened like visually
immediately.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, but anyway, Carmilla, who I don't know who she's supposed to be. Do you know who she's supposed to be?
Who's Carmilla again?
Is the Gargan's second in command.
I think she's the female Scorpion that is in comics as well.
Wait, is there a female Scorpion? I didn't even know.
Yeah, dude, like
that makes
fucking
sense.
Late 2000s, just kind of temporary Scorpion. I think she might have even been like Scorpia or some stupid thing.
I guess that makes sense because Gargan at that time was probably Venom, so that makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, Scorpia. Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to say though, we get to see Gargan put on the suit and the Scorpion armor and Carmilla to reveal where it is. And then episode 7, where basically we learn that Norman's trying to track down Otto using gamma radiation. Then we have the whole situation with Pearl? Paula? I keep on forgetting her name. Pearl. It is Pearl. I just checked. Pearl trying to talk to Lonnie. And then we have the whole fight with Gargan, which was brutal as fuck. That shit was crazy.
Oh yeah, we didn't really even talk about also the Future Foundation nod with the the prototype suit, or that prototype. But yeah, that was cool to see as well.
I'm surprised how long he wore that.
Yeah, they really kept that going for a minute. It was interesting to use that as like the stepping stone before the red and blue that we know.
Well, we know why.
But I guess it's
action figures.
Well, yeah.
And next season, he's going to wear 5 more costumes for no random reason.
Does that mean that we're getting Dusk, Prodigy, and Hornet figures?
Oh my god, that would be crazy. But no Ricochet.
But no Ricochet. Damn, he's
Ricochet
my favorite
getting
too.
jaded. Yeah, no, he easily. I mean, he's the best costume out of the bunch. But yeah, and then we get that whole fight with Gargan, and then the glider near the end to save Peter.
Yeah,
wild.
What a brutal, fight. It was really, really, it does the whole season, does the whole Spider-Man arc, the serious low, like the villain that he seemingly can't beat after he's beat so many. It does that whole kind of classic Spidey arc, which is really cool to see. But yeah, when obviously, yes, this episode has the guns, but also it has that random 10th Street gang member just getting stabbed.
Yeah.
By the tail. And at first, when Mac was just kind of, sideswiping people or whatever, knocking them left and right, I was like, okay, they're not going to like actually have him stab anybody. And then that guy just gets fucking impaled. And I'm like, oh shit, okay.
And he just held it there. He was like, yeah, get a good shot at this.
And then it just gets worse and worse as the episode goes on. It's like, damn, this is fucking brutal.
I was genuinely surprised, and then also the fact that like,
is this TV4? I mean, it's Y7. I mean, I guess it's TV14 then, right?
Maybe. I mean, they've laxed a lot of the standards nowadays.
I mean, definitely. Like, I was just surprised because the whole show was.
I thought Peter got stabbed through the heart for a second. I had to like double check. I was like, oh wait, no, okay.
It says PG. I guess they don't do actual TV ratings on Disney Plus. Because streaming, it says PG here.
I think PG-13 is just for movies. Pretty sure. I think it goes G, PG, and an R.
For movies, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's strange that, Well, for TV shows, it's TVY7, TV14, TVMA, like that thing.
That
So
was,
I
yeah,
guess
you're
they
right.
don't use that rating for TV anymore or something. But either way,
Maybe.
yeah, surprising incline.
Yeah.
And yeah, just brutal moment.
Brutal fucking fight, bro. That shit reminded me of like Spider-Man 1, like Sam Raimi, when Norman is just beating the fuck out of Peter, and you're like, my god, this is some brutal shit. Also, I will say, I really liked how much the tail does make a difference. Like, it feels powerful, and makes me even go, okay, I can now see why Otto is going to be a threat, because he basically has 4 of those,
Right, right.
which is even, if one gave him trouble, I can only imagine 4 more will, with like different things at the end, will like only make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
But next up, we have Tangled Web, which is my favorite episode because we don't have him going to the suit at all. He stays on the ground the entire fucking episode. It's really great. We basically have just Peter getting. Well, Peter gets his blood taken so that Norman and Oscorp can experiment on spiders, which will tie in later with the finale, which is really cool. And then we have the whole thing with basically Peter wrestling with the fact that he's basically losing his partnership if he doesn't do better as Spider-Man, and also, does Spider-Man deserve to be around? Does he need to be around?
Yeah, it's the whole classic
Classic arc.
Peter Parker luck moment where it's like he's having a fight with his best friend. Norman doesn't not disrespect him, but Norman wants more from him, and he just lost a huge fight. So it's like it's the dog pile of stuff that
Great
just
power
makes it
comes
such a Spider-Man story.
with great power comes great respect is crazy.
That was interesting. Yeah.
That was quite the twist. But I think my favorite moment was, and it's a very small one. So when Peter disappears from Pearl's room to confront Lonnie. Like, that to me felt like that is Peter. That's something Peter would do, Like, that is what Spider-Man would do. He would quickly be like, I have potentially a date with this girl that I really enjoy, or I can go and help my friend who's right now having a moral quandary about gang violence. And he will choose his friend every time. Like that. Oh man. We also had the whole thing with Nico and Harry becoming a little bit closer. And what else? We had Iron Man popping up, which was cool with the classic design, which was funny. But yeah, no, overall, I thought this episode was so good, and I loved Harry being the reason that like Peter goes, no, like, go back out there, do your own fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold yourself. Don't think my father is the prime example to follow. Like, do your own thing. Which, that to me was like so much more. That this episode was
Engaging.
what I wanted. This episode was exactly what I like, the soap opera drama vibes to the Spider-Man stories. Like that, it needs that build up and like climax before the payoff. You know what I mean?
This guy likes human moments in superhero media. Point and laugh at him.
Anyway, 9 and 10 kind of blurred for me. I'm gonna be real. But basically, we get the whole thing with Big Donovan and the Scorpion gang fight. We have Scorpion with the fucking like mask, like the mental asylum mask, which is wild. I was surprised by that. I don't know if you were, that they like pulled that out.
Yeah, I mean, the mask in the comics doesn't really make much practical sense because it's like it always with his costume in both like comics and toys, it toes the line of being like armor or latex, and so it doesn't make sense for the mask to be like close to his face like that. So it's just kind of like I guess a more natural way to give him some sort of mask or face protection.
I usually like when the suit is something that's grafted onto him. That's usually the way I like it.
I guess that's what they were suggesting with that overheating moment and it like fucking up his skin and stuff.
Fused. Yeah.
But the rest of the outfit didn't really follow. Like the only addition after that first fight was the helmet, so that was a little strange. Like I guess I would have liked a full suit at that moment.
Yeah, I thought he would maybe get like the arms or something. He would like go back to Otto and be like, give me the arms, like, or something like that. Otto just hands him like multiple octopus arms and goes, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that whole fight was cool, and then the whole thing with Lonnie getting powers was fun.
Is this an episode or the episode? No, I guess it would have been the one before. where they try and arrest Otto at his hideout.
Well, that was the one with Iron Man, where Iron Man appears.
Yeah, right. So
And
I was just
yeah,
gonna
Thunderbolt.
backtrack, I guess, but I like that sequence and the whole defenses and everything that he has, and I like the arms not being attached to him yet. Like I like the disembodied. Like they show how powerful the arms are without them even being attached to Otto. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
him
So that was cool.
whistling and just knocking out everyone with like different things. Also, was that stick for cardiac? That's
Yes.
like for cardiac. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. I was like, that's cardiac.
Yeah. And for a second, I was like, are they making Lonnie cardiac? Because that's the only moment that staff is like live.
Yeah,
Before it's just Otto's just holding it and it's just like not live. But then, yeah, Lonnie's holding it. I'm like, wait, is he cardiac? I'm so confused. Because like the smoke was blue and he picked up the staff and it was like electric. I was like, wait, what? I'm confused. But then he stops the tail, which is a really cool moment. I love that moment where they just, they do like the wide city shot for a second. So you're like, oh, Lonnie's dead as fuck. But he's not.
yeah. I also love when Peter locks in, like that moment where he's just dodging and he's just like shooting like it shows the number one rule: Spider-Man stops joking, get the fuck out of Dodge. The
Mhm.
minute he stops quipping, that's it. Leave, abandon whatever you're doing because you do not want to fuck with him.
But yeah, I really liked how he got close. Like that makes so much sense to me. Like, yeah, don't be within reach of the tail. Like, just get up close and personal. So there were some really cool close combat moments there. And then yeah, just him kind of teaming up with Lonnie. It was fun.
Yeah, it's really funny. Also, Nico, how the fuck are you gonna be like, yeah, no more secrets except I have a magic amulet and I'm gonna be angry that you kept your like come on, bro.
Yeah,
You
that was
like
kind of
like I
whack.
would have been fine if she didn't have a magic amulet and I'd be like, okay, cool. Like you wanted to know Peter's secret because he's your friend. Okay, cool. And then you reveal like, yeah, I also have a secret. It's like, bitch, you don't have any right to be angry.
Yeah,
Period. At that point,
it's fucked up.
like literally gaslighting him, being like, "How dare you keep this secret from me? By the way, I also am magic." The final episode kind of ties everything together with the spider. It's a time loop. It's a time loop,
Not
everyone.
expecting that.
I was also very much not expecting that.
I was like, what? Really? That's what we're okay. That's what we're
I
doing.
was really surprised. But here's the question: where does the original spider blood come from?
It's just an endless loop of questions.
It's an endless loop. But that was really fun. And then I do also like that all the stuff that Norman was having them build stuff for a purpose. I do like the whole fight. I think it's pretty guaranteed that that's like just a Clintara basically creature. That's instead of just like I thought it was originally the recent slot because it was the same design.
Yeah, yeah.
But like yeah, no, it just seems like it's just a random Clintar creature.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I really was surprised that they chose Web for Harry to name his thing Web. I really thought they were going to go with Horizon.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
Pretty
okay.
random.
Like, Worldwide Engineering Brigade was kind of lame.
Yeah, it was just for the sake of it being called Web,
Yeah. And then the reveal of Richard Parker at the end, I was surprised by that. And Josh Keaton was the one who voiced him, which is really cool. So,
But yeah,
pretty exciting.
I was surprised by that. I was checking out the credits. That was cool.
Yeah, Josh Keaton getting in another Spider-Man show.
But what a fucking shit ton of it was almost comedic after like the third or fourth, like all like the little setup scenes at the end of the episode.
Fucking
I was like,
so many
okay,
setups.
whoa. I was like, what's that?
I was like, Daredevil and Finesse.
Yeah, fucking Finesse throwaway. I was like, what?
I was like,
nobody gives a fuck about Finesse. What are you doing?
I was like Jean the Wolf. Like that's what I kept thinking of. I was like, okay, so she becomes a cop later, and it was like, no, she's Finesse.
Isn't Jean DeWolf Wraith in the comics?
Oh wait, no. Wait, maybe.
Who's no, that's Watanabe. Jean DeWolf is a character though. Oh, she's just a detective in the comics.
Like she's just a cop. So I was like surprised that like they because she says DeWolf. She does say DeWolf. I do remember.
Okay.
She does say that's like the fake name she gives. So that's why I was like, she's a cop, but she's also smart in this case.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, we got Finesse. Yeah. What else?
Yeah,
what
she's
else
just a detective. But yeah, I mean, shit ton of throwaways.
Yeah, I was surprised.
I'm sure there's more that we're not thinking of. Well, I mean, Bulldozer was I don't know if that's
Bulldozer.
supposed to be Wrecking Crew Bulldozer.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just like kind of a name throwaway because they didn't actually say his real name. But yeah, that Oscorp guy was Bentley Whitman. So yeah, that's Wizard. So they can still do that with him. But yeah, just so many character throwaways. But
Venom. Completely
yeah,
forgot about that.
and then
The Venom
the little
setup.
Venom setup at the end.
And then also, I mean, Peter's blood is still with Norman, which is Garrett. Wow, I wonder how they're going to mutate other people into other animal hybrids. I really can't guess. I really wonder how
Yeah,
we're
I
going to
forgot
get different.
there was a little when Connors talks with Peter for like last time in the season, the little
Lizard.
the little lizard
Yeah,
insert.
I wonder how the lizard will possibly have its DNA meld with Kurt Connors or Kurt. What is their first name?
I
We
don't even
only
know
hear.
what they
Yeah, I don't think their first name.
said it once.
Whatever.
I forgot. Dr. Connors.
Yeah, just Dr. Connors. But I wonder how. But yeah, overall, good show. I will say, I think and this is a nitpick. I know it's a nitpick. I do kind of wish he didn't need the mentor, like showing him, like the thing that I like about Peter, at least what I personally enjoy, is like Peter discovering and figuring out the powers his own way. I don't really like him having a guy in the chair or anything like that. It makes him feel a little bit too much like Batman-esque. I think too many people know his identity by the end of the season, but I mean, in comparison to the MCU, though, this is leagues above what they've done.
Yeah, I was gonna say like relative to the MCU, this is an amazing TV show. Against all the other TV shows as well. But its strongest suit, in my opinion, is just the human moments and the dialogue. And that's really the standout stuff and the standout moments. But this is like a slow, what's the word? A slow increase of actually using comic characters while still kind of being reminiscent of the MCU with all their, references that they made to the MCU. So it's approachable for a couple different audiences. And I think that ends up working very well, honestly. If you're coming at it from an MCU angle and you're like, oh, but they never gave the origin for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like who is he? You could kind of jump into it that way. Or, if you just didn't really consume any Spider-Man media, I think this is pretty entry level. Or like the weakest point, I think, is just the animation for me. But it doesn't get in the way, honestly, for me, because just the story and
The story's so
plot
good.
is so strong.
Yeah, I mean that's the key thing. If the story is good, you're willing to oversee glaring details. Now, if it's the other way, it becomes more obvious. If it looks really good and then the story's bad, you start nitpicking more, in my opinion. But I was gonna say, I really hope they switch Spider-Man voice actor, because I will say for the first 4 episodes, I could not stop thinking about his. I'm so happy the show is in woke line, because like, bro, what are you smoking, my guy? This is so.
I will once again hail my praises for not being
Satan?
on the Twitter and social media side of anything MCU related. I stay far away from it. I don't watch fucking trailers anymore. I don't watch anything. I just watch the show. I consume it for what it is, and I'm done. And that's it.
Yeah.
I can't. There's too much bullshit now. If I want to enjoy anything at all, I don't want to know anything anymore. Like whatever.
All I'm saying is that maybe replace the voice actor with Josh Keaton and rename the show Spectacular Spider-Man, and then maybe change the art style completely, so that we could have a Spectacular Spider-Man season 3.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. That's just a theory. A Spectacular Spider-Man theory.
For having Spider-Verse out and having that void, there, I think, this show kind of surprised me, just as far as the writing.
It might just keep us alive long enough to get the Spider-Verse 3.
We'll see.
It might just drip feed us enough just to get to Spider-Verse 3 when it comes out in 2052.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Should we do ratings or?
Yeah. So I give this 4 scorpions stabbing Peter out of 5.
I'm going to give this 4 cardiac staffs out of 5.
And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Definitely tell us what you think about the show below. Comment down below. Check out our live stream on March 15th. And yeah.
Smash that like button.
Subscribe. And remember.
Shatter that bell button.
And remember, support your local comic shop and read comics. Bye bye.